Hey, can you guys hear me? Awesome. Hey, good morning, everyone. How's everyone today? All right, are we ready to have some fun? Sorry, try that again. Are we ready to have some fun? Yeah, okay. All right, well, if you're like me, and if you're here, you're probably a really huge Gilmore Girls fan, right? Yes, iconic show. We've got some great guests for you today. First off, I'd like to introduce, he played the famous Luke Danes. We've got Scott Patterson. Give him a big hand. Thank you. Hi, good to see you again. All right, and also welcome to the stage. He played Michelle Gerard, our awesome concierge at the end. Give it a hand for Yannick Truesdale. Right here is fine, anywhere is fine, yep.
Oh, wait.
Be comfortable.
It really is, Michelle. Hi, guys. It was me.
Testing. Hi.
Hello.
How's everybody doing?
Haven't seen so many people in 2 years.
Yeah, super exciting. Okay, so look, guys, this is all about you. So I'm going to get things started, but I really want to hear from you guys, okay? Because this is really about you guys and what questions that you have for Scott and Yannick, okay? So there's a microphone, if you haven't seen it, right over here in this aisle. Please line up, and I will definitely call on you to ask your question, okay? Don't be shy. If I can do this, you guys can do this, okay? Okay, we're all in it together. All right, let's get started. So you guys were part of this, Gilmore Girls is just such a huge, iconic show. I know, at least for me and my daughter, it means a lot to us. What was it like to be a part of the show that means so much to so many people? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's very, you do a show like that, you have no idea what it's going to be. It was my first job in LA. And you do an audition, and it's a pilot, and you're like, oh, maybe the pilot's gonna get picked up, and then it is. And then you're like, oh, maybe we picked up for 13 episodes. You're like, oh, that's fun. And then you're like, oh, picked up for the back 6. And it's a really slow process, and when you're in it, you appreciate every step of it, but you don't realize the impact of it until, really, I felt the impact of the show, the real impact of the show, that it didn't go away, and it wouldn't go away. Years after the show, I'm like, well, the show's been done for 5 years. People are still talking about it. But it's beautiful to be part of a show that was not cynical. It was a lot of heart. It's a feel good. And at a time where there's so much pain, I'm really happy to be part of a show that makes people feel good. So, yeah.
Oh, that's really great. Scott, how about you?
I got involved in it when I found out that Yannick was going to be in it, and I wasn't going to do it because I thought it was too schmaltzy. And then I decided, because of his participation, I signed a 6-year deal.
So not true.
No, let me see. The process for me was a little different. I was just booked as a guest star.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to be in all of the episodes.
This was not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And
so charismatic, they said we have to keep
the
him.
thing, the magnetism, the wit,
Yes.
is what it was. And then they offered 2 shows after the pilot was in the can.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they offered 2.
Wow.
And
That's a lot.
And my manager called and said, we're not going to take 2. I said, why? Come on, I need work. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. And then they came back with 4 shows, and she said no. And I go, you got to be kidding me.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. And so the manager called Gavin Polone, who
Big
was
producer.
one of the executive producer of the show. And she said, go to the network and get him a deal. You know you want him, you know the chemistry is good with Lauren, and let's just, blank her get off the pot, right? And he did, to his credit. And she called me and said, come to lunch at this place. And she handed me a large envelope with a 6-year deal in it, and it was a pretty good lunch. That was a pretty good lunch. And the first thing I did was calculate how much that I was going to have to pay her in commissions over 6 years. So my brain.
That is so great. Well, we couldn't imagine the show without Luke, right? Such an integral part.
Luke was supposed to be a girl. Originally conceived as a woman, and the studio came back at Amy and said, change it to a guy.
Michel was supposed to be in his late 50s. Yeah. They couldn't find. I was a kid. 28.
You were just a kid.
I was 28.
You were,
Yeah.
you were just like out of college.
Yeah.
I was just out of graduate school. I was 23. I had socks older than that at that time. No, but it was, listen, it was, I knew, the critics were hailing the show from the get-go. When the Hollywood Reporter and Variety write reviews that strong, because you don't see that a lot, then I knew we had something special. I knew it when I read the script anyway. When I read the script originally, before the first audition, I thought, I have no chance at this. Movie stars were crossing over into television. That's when it really started happening. So I figured they were just going to go after big names. But to her credit, Amy fought for what she considered to be the best people for each part. And I think that's what makes it really special. The casting is extraordinary in the show.
100%. It was really
So
special.
many people.
Yeah,
Sharon,
so much talent.
Milo.
Right, it's just a ton of people to cast, and all with unique voices and unique characteristics and rhythms. It's a real accomplishment in casting and writing.
Absolutely. Okay, I want to remind everyone, if you've got a question, please feel free to jump up to the mic. Jarta, you have a question? Okay, jump right in.
Hi, Rebecca.
No, can you all hear me?
I can hear it.
My question to each of you, are you Team Jess, Team Dean, or Team
She's asking a tough question. Tough question.
Okay, I'm Team Jess.
You're right, sister. I'm Team Jess too. I am too. Good.
Team Jess.
I don't know. I'm friends with Jared, so I'm Team Jared. Team Dean, what was his name? Dean? Yeah, but he was not nice. What was wrong with Dean?
Dean just couldn't handle.
Well,
the
he
fact
was
that
young,
Jess
he was
a
12.
rival,
Oh,
and
come
he
on.
flipped
Give him
out.
a break. I like Dean. Dean was
Listen, I like him too. He's a great kid, but he's not a kid anymore.
No,
but
yeah.
I'll always say he's a kid.
Yeah.
Scott, how do I gain weight, man? I'm too skinny. How do
He was skinny.
I don't know how to do it. Jared, listen, stay skinny. You're gonna
He's not
thank
skinny
me.
anymore. What are you talking about? He's like all buffed. and
He's a
stuff.
tall drink of water, then. He's never gonna be like this. And when he was 18, he wanted to be like this. And I said, dude, you're like 6'4", 130. How are you gonna
6'6".
get?
Is he not 6'6"?
No, he's not 6'6".
He's 6'4".
I measured him
He's from
once.
Texas. I measured. That's weird. I don't like the visual of that.
I don't tell you everything, You're very jealous. So, but that's Jared. But
I don't know. Detail. Which team? Yes.
Tough questions.
That's all right.
Can someone help her? Hi. We're here.
Firstly, I wanted to say thank you for being part of something that I had to grow up with, and it was an incredible experience growing up with this show. And I came home from school, and all I wanted to do was watch Gilmore Girls, and I have every season on DVD. And I don't care that we don't watch DVDs anymore. I'm keeping them for the rest of the time. But the one thing I wanted to ask was, how was it coming back to do the Netflix special? Like, how did you guys
Very
feel when
nice.
that happened?
It was such a gift, right? Because we never get to go back to a world and a part that you created. Once you're done, you're done. It's the beauty of it, because we do all kinds of characters. But this show is so meaningful to all of us, and to have the chance to go back and revisit it, and also to give fans new episodes, because God knows they were asking for it.
Yes, we were.
Yeah, so it was, and we're all older and so appreciative of the show, and to see each other, and to see the growth, and it was lovely. I almost liked the coming back more than the original.
I enjoyed it much more.
Yeah.
Because we never got to say goodbye.
Also,
It was
yes.
like I was on a set
That's
in
true.
Toronto, and my manager texted me. They killed the show, and I was like, huh? Now I have to go do a scene where I have to be happy. How am I gonna do it? And I wasn't really 100% a surprise, to be honest with you, because I think certain people were kind of bankrupt. They had no gas in the tank, and it's a tough show to do.
Yeah,
It's a tough show to do.
I don't know if people know, but we had an average of 30 pages more of dialogue
Right.
per episode,
Right.
but not more days to shoot it.
And not more time to air it. So it's
Yeah.
40 minutes of an hour, and then
That's-
20 minutes commercial
Yeah.
right time, and then you've got 80 pages of black ink.
Yeah, so
Just like whoa.
That was because the dialogue was so fast.
so fast.
So
Yeah.
fast.
I read so many articles about how,
Yeah.
that Amy was like, okay, we gotta do this again, because you gotta be fast.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just so very interesting, because you really were able to get so much into episodes because
But
of
it
that.
didn't start fast like that. First season, if you watch the first season, as you
Yeah,
guys
you're
have,
right, you're right.
the first season has a much different pace. And then suddenly, I don't know if Amy started doing coke or something. I mean, she went like faster. I don't know where it came from. And then it was a thing, and then it was our branding. Gilmore Girls, they talk so fast, so then we all had to talk
You never,
fast.
you never got an acting note. The director would come up and say,
Faster.
"Can you go faster?"
Yeah. And
No,
you
I
couldn't
can't.
change a word.
No.
So that made it tricky because,
No.
you really had to know the lines.
There's a funny story. There's an extra one day who came into the diner, and he had 2 words. That's it. And he was all excited. He was a young kid, and he in rehearsal he came in and did some soliloquy because he wanted to improvise
Oh.
and impress people. And he was a really nice kid. But I took him on a little walk, and I said, "Listen, that's not gonna fly here in this part of Texas. So just say the words. And that's it. And you just can't." And when we started shooting, he did all the exposition he wanted, and he got reamed by, I forget who the director was, but he got reamed. God damn it! How many times you have to?
But some other
I
shows
told
welcome that, but that was not.
Right.
a show we
A
got.
lot of shows. Hey, that guy's great. Let's fire him and hire him. That was brilliant. But not on this show. No.
Well, thank you guys again so much for being
Oh,
a part
you're
of
very
my
welcome.
life growing up. It really was.
Thank you.
I couldn't live without Gilmore Girls. to be honest.
But it was nice to come back to something after 9 years and know what your completion date was going to be.
There you go.
It was 3.5 months. It was a ton of work, right? It was
Yeah.
4 movies basically in 3.5 months and 4 different seasons. So it was kind of crazy wardrobes. Like you'd wear summer on the bottom, winter on top sometimes. They go change. And we all got to sort of, bathe in it again and
Yeah.
say proper goodbyes. It was just really nice. I mean, Netflix spent a ton of money on those sets. Those sets were completely different. I mean, especially
But
in.
they were destroyed mainly, so they
Right.
had to
They
rebuild
had to
everything.
rebuild,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Luke's Diner always had like kind of an old squeaky kind of like tile thing, and the sound department would go crazy, so we'd have to do a lot of looping. And Netflix made it spongy, 1-inch, just nice. It laid down. Sound department loved it. It was a little weird at first, but it was really nice on the back.
Speaking of said goodbyes, I thought how they said goodbye to Mr. Herman was really
Yeah.
wonderful. That was what a loss that was. But
Yeah.
he was such a huge personality on that show. And honestly, the first time I ever met him was in Richie Rich when I was a kid.
Oh.
From that movie, and
Yeah.
watching him in Gilmore Girls was so great. But it was so sad when he passed. But the way that they all wrapped that up was
Yeah, we were all sad. Yeah. He was a great guy. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Great questions. So you guys were talking about the fast-paced dialogue that was brought up. So I'm curious, who had the most trouble remembering their lines on set? That's a lot of lines.
It was always guest stars. And we would have some very, we would have guest, people that had Broadway resumes, people that were known, and extremely talented people, tons of experience, and they could not Sometimes they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
They were terrified.
I'll reverse your question. The person that learned her lines the fastest to me is Lauren.
Right.
Because she had so much dialogue that she didn't have the luxury of learning her lines ahead of time, like I did, or maybe you did. So we would go on stage and block a scene. Blocking a scene means you just decide where you're going physically for the camera to follow you. And she would have her pages in her hands reading during the blocking, and then I would see her in makeup. She'd still have the pages in her hands while she was getting makeup, and then we'd get on stage and we'd do it the first time, a bit rocky. Second time, a bit better. Third time, no more pages. And like monologues, not like few lines. I was like, how is this possible? Like her brain, she has a photographic memory. So I said,
Almost, not
whatever.
quite, but almost.
But very impressed by how quick she could learn.
The first season, they threw a scene at us right away. More on this. They threw a 10-pager at us.
Yeah.
At
Yeah, they
six,
would do
at
that.
6 a.m.
Yeah.
And we had to be on set at 7, and Lauren and I looked at each other like, oh shit. And we just did it.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what you can do when you have to do it.
When you have to.
And
Yeah.
she was in that situation every day, and so it's a muscle that you develop, and it's short-term memory, and it's like all the junk goes out the next day, and make room for the new stuff, and it works. You develop that muscle, and then when you're away from the show for a while, you can't do it anymore. Wasn't it unfair? Because we forgot. See, the thing is when Gilmore ended, I forgot how hard it was to get a job in Hollywood. To get a job. Because we had this job by Miracle of All Miracles. We were chosen to be in the show, and then after 7 years, we're back out auditioning again.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know about you, but I couldn't audition anymore. I forgot how to do it.
To do it, yeah.
I even told the cast director, this isn't really fair. I've been busy like making shows, and these guys are better than me in the room because they've been auditioning this whole time.
Yeah.
And I lost the ability to do this.
Yeah.
So it takes a while to get back into the auditioning mode. So it's weird.
But I went to Canada and I was doing shows without auditioning, so I didn't have to do that. Yeah. But yes.
Wow. Okay, just remember, if you guys have any questions, feel free. So I'm curious, if there were any more episodes of Gilmore Girls, what would you like to see happen?
We were talking about it, we'd like to see zombies. We were just talking about this, and I think it's a great idea. Turn it into zombies. I was talking to these two young girls at the table, and they're Walking Dead fans, and I just thought, why not combine these worlds? It's such an original, unique idea. I think my thinking is very modern.
Pitch it to Amy.
Yeah.
Do you guys still keep in touch with each other, or do you guys like only see each other and things like that?
He keeps blowing up my phone all the time. I do a podcast. He was my first guest on my podcast.
See how kind I am. You can't keep in touch with everybody because it was a big cast. I think we were 12 or 13, I forgot how many people. But obviously certain people, and strangely enough, all of my scene partners, I kept in touch with them because they were the people I was working with. So Lauren and Melissa are close friends because that's all my time on Gilmore. And Kelly Bishop, I'm still very close to Kelly. Just spoke with her because she's a Pisces as well. So I called her for her birthday, and I said to her, in my head, I keep people in the time I met them. So I met Kelly; she was 58. So I said, for me, you're still 58. She said, well, add 20 years. I'm like, you're 78. Yeah, but she's so vibrant and full of energy. It's so great. Yeah.
That's lovely. Thank you. Good question. Yeah, that's a really great question. So where do you think your characters are today in the Gilmore Girl world? What are they doing?
What was happening in the? Oh yeah, I got kids. Probably depressed or something. He hated kids so much. Yeah, in the episode I was married or something, and then I got kids. We're gonna what?
The spa, Dragonfly, you were getting the annex of the spa.
Yeah, but I feel like in the revival we were adopting kids, and I was right. Yeah, and I had a nervous breakdown. Yeah. Yeah, so he's probably dealing with the kids and regretting every second of it.
Today, yeah, so how old would Rory be today?
In her 30s.
35,
Yeah,
30,
30s,
no, not
yeah.
35.
No, she was 16.
She'd be 40 at this point, right?
Yeah.
36, I think, because
Yeah, because it's 20, that's right.
She was
Yeah.
16 in 2000 when it
16 plus
And it's
20.
38.
38.
Yeah.
That's right.
So she'd be 38.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Luke is just, I think the beauty of that character is that he doesn't change, and that he is the one touchstone, maybe in the piece that really doesn't change and is resistant to any kind of change. That's half the appeal of it, so he's probably still the same.
Great. Go ahead.
Hi, so you mentioned the Gilmore Girls Walking Dead crossover.
Uh-huh.
How long did your characters survive the zombie
Good question. Good question.
I kind of would, I'd like to be a zombie. I'd like to be one of the zombies.
I think Michelle would scare them. Just scream. Just go crazy on
I think
them.
it's
With his French accent. You know, he'd be like, get away from here! Get away!
You would stick kitchen on them.
And I'd throw him out of the diner. Messing up the place.
Oh, that's great. Go ahead.
Hello.
So when preparing for a scene, is there some sort of ritual that you do? And can you pick any particular scene?
There's,
Do you
there-
say specific food?
For Gilmore or for anything? Oh, anything.
Oh, God.
Boy, it changes
Depends on the
depending.
part.
That's right.
Depends on the piece.
Yeah.
For Gilmore, it was George Bell. George Bell was our dialogue coach.
Yeah.
And George Bell came season 3.
I don't
He
know.
wasn't there for the first 2 seasons. Then suddenly George Bell is there, and he's a trained theater actor, very competent actor himself. And he would come into the trailer and run lines, and you'd know him cold. You need to be bulletproof before you walk onto a set, because so many things can happen. There's so many distractions. There's people walking behind camera. There's noises. There's all kinds of things. So if you're not bulletproof, you're going to get thrown off. So you need to really be cold on your lines. Really know them dead cold, and that's the best advice I could give anybody.
I used to prep for any part. I'm overly prepared as an actor because I want to be as relaxed as I can on stage, and that's my way to be relaxed. But as I'm getting older, I'm doing a show currently in Canada, and the show was written for me, and the part was written for me. And for the first time in my life, I was like, okay, you're old enough. This is you, basically, the character. So for the first time, I only learned the lines and didn't do all of my prep. And I thought it was thrilling because you're so in the moment of like figuring out
Right.
what is going to happen that it's kind of like now my new way of working.
Oh.
Learning the lines, but letting the magic happen on
That's
the
very,
spot.
very Stanislavski.
Yeah, it's very fun, but it's very new. I just started doing
It's called the quality of the first time.
Yeah.
So if you can capture that, even though you rehearsed, if you can, Jimmy Caan has a photographic memory, and he was really frustrated with a lot of his co-stars because they didn't have photographic memory. They needed to rehearse a lot. He never needed to rehearse. He just looked at something once and he knew it cold. He knew how he was going to do it. So he was always having that quality of the first time experience, and that's what they, all of the more erudite acting teachers and acting books tell you to strive for is the quality of the first time.
There you go.
That's it.
Thank you for the question.
Great question. Well, I'm curious, how did you prepare for those dancing scenes?
No, I did
Michelle
not.
had some great,
I did
great
not.
moves.
This is because Amy saw me at a Christmas party dancing, I think with Melissa, and then I showed up the following season, and Michelle kept dancing all the time.
I thought it was great. Some of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, that's
Michelle
because of
dancing.
that. Blame it on the Christmas party and the alcohol. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So, Scott, I'm curious. One thing that I wish, if there was anything I think that I would have asked for more from Gilmore Girls was to explore that relationship between Luke and his father. Do you know more about the relationship between Luke and his father? It sounds like it was a good relationship, but maybe complicated. Do you know, or have you just maybe kind of have that in your head?
Well,
through
I
the
mean, yeah, I thought about it. I didn't go into great detail about it, but I did think about it, and you know, I kind of drew from my own experience with my own father because it was sort of shooting along the same line. But delving more into it in the story, gosh, I don't know. You know, I when I think about the show, I think about how many characters really got developed in that way, and there weren't that many. I mean, obviously, Lorelai and Rory, I mean, they were developed, and I think the Gilmores got developed because they always had characters coming in and out of their life. And I think the one time that they really tried to add some dimension to Luke is when April showed up, and the fans did not respond to that the way I think that Amy and Dan expected. So I think they ran back on it and really never made another attempt. The Jess thing worked, the April thing did. So I don't know if it's such a good idea to try to develop too many characters. I mean, I think the way that Amy and Dan intended the show was to really focus on those 4 people, all Gilmore Girls. And I think the studio wanted to call it originally the Gilmore Way because they saw Emily and Richard as more of like also lead cast. So yeah, that's just how it went down. But there's just not enough time in a season to develop all those characters. So it's probably best to leave it alone and let the audience sort of imagine what it was like, or not even ask the questions and focus on what was going on the screen.
Makes sense. Do you think we'll get any more? Any more Gilmore Girls? Any more revivals?
I don't think so.
Don't think so?
I mean, I don't see the world in which, I don't know. It's been, when was the revival? 5 years ago?
They better do it. They better do new ones.
2016, yeah.
Because
I don't know.
fans will storm
Never
the
know.
Lord Gullis.
Yeah.
Listen, I have a podcast. I've done 80 episodes. I do a rewatch podcast on iHeart.
80.
We've done 80 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah. We're through season 2 now. So
What? For
yeah,
real?
Yeah.
Oh, every episode you're doing it. Okay, I see.
Not every. We're doing 3 episodes a week. So we'll break down an episode and then we'll do a separate episode on the pop culture that was in the episode.
Okay.
Right? And then we'll do an interview with somebody, a guest cast.
Jeez.
Just had Adam Wiley. Yeah,
You'll
we're
be
doing
dead by the time you're done.
Yeah, it's a full-time job. So I think maybe
Come on.
generating new interest.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
So Jess was supposed to have a spin-off when he was leaving the show. Were you lined up to be in that spin-off? And do you have any inside information about that, like why it never took off?
Jess did film something
Yeah,
Oh, he did?
It was like 2 episodes. And then it kind of-
with Rob Estes played his father.
Yeah.
They filmed it down in Venice Beach, and it didn't fly.
Right.
Yeah, it didn't get picked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you lined up at all for any of those?
No. I'd heard that the studio. I'd heard after season 2 or 3 that the studio wanted to spin off my character, and Amy said no, which is probably a good thing.
Hello.
Hi, go ahead.
I'm not like related to anyone else here. I started watching probably 5 years ago. So I was playing Xbox living room, and my wife was watching the show. I started getting kind of emotionally invested. Stopped playing Xbox and started watching the show.
This feels like an AA meeting.
Yeah, that's where I stand. But so I do have a question. It was 5 years ago. 2 weeks she was actually binge watching it 2 weeks before A Year in the Life came out. So she started once I got invested. She started over and we binge watched the show in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And then got to watch A Year in the Life 2 weeks later.
You watched the 7th season in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh, so people do that in a weekend. People they do that.
Newlyweds, no kids. So those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two things for us to do, binge watch and other things.
Oh, how about sex? No. Newlywed. Sorry, kids, go home.
Let me ask the question.
We're not stopping you. What do you guys shut up there?
Get another chance to talk to you. But, so I really enjoyed hearing the life, except for the very ending when y'all left it on a, cliffhanger. Why? Because I feel like the show didn't really give me closure, and I was like, cool, I get to have closure.
Yeah.
I went
We're
back
cruel
to-
that
I
way.
went back to Xbox begrudgingly, but.
If you want closure from Gilmore Girls, you are barking up the wrong tree. It's intentional.
Is there a plan? Is there any kind of, I know COVID kind of put things at the wall, but is there, have y'all been talking about it all, maybe coming back and doing for another, don't shake your head.
We have not.
Everybody has sort of disparate, successful careers. I mean, it's like, how are you gonna schedule all of these people? And I'm sure if Netflix wanted to listen, Netflix made a deal with Warner Brothers for the rights, okay? And I think it goes through 2024. So it ain't over yet.
So you're saying there's a chance?
I think there is always, for something that is so globally admired and loved and has touched the lives of so many people so deeply, because this is not just a fan base. This is a religious cult, in the best possible sense. And this is a way of life. It's a religion, and by God, I always think that there's hope that Netflix could do it again if they make the right deal.
I like your podcast.
Thank you. You got it, buddy.
Thank you. Hi, go ahead.
Hi. Hey, it's gonna be loud because I don't.
Yeah, that doesn't work, by the way.
I might as well just ask for my seat. Whenever you guys closed down the show, was there anything that you guys took from the set? Like you
Yeah.
normally. So what was y'all's favorite memento that you took off the set?
I took so many suits. But they gave it to me, really. Brenda said just take it. I know, but those suits are like a bit dated now.
They were
so,
great
yeah.
suits.
Yeah.
I took pretty much everything that wasn't nailed down on a daily basis. Yeah.
Did you have a favorite thing that, like, of memento? Oh, this thing in particular, like, a nameplate or whatever the case.
I got
Like
a
sign
Luke.
for Luke's Diner?
I did that. I got one of those.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I have a storage facility. And a third of it is Gilmore memorabilia. When the Smithsonian calls, I'm going to get into negotiator mode.
Thanks a lot.
Great.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, go ahead.
I'm back.
Yeah.
I have 2 small questions. How was it having Aunt Vivian as your mom?
That's my mom.
Yeah.
Oh, she was there for one episode, right?
I know.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I forgot about that. I'm trying to remember the episode now. It's too long
She
ago.
came in from Paris.
Well, yes.
And didn't know anything about what you normally do.
Right.
Right.
And you guys, and you guys were,
Were we talking in French? No, she didn't speak French,
no, there
right?
was a French accent.
Yeah.
And you're terrible. Oh, you're wicked.
Yeah. It
You
was
were
fun.
laughing.
It was fun. Thank you for reminding me of that episode. I forgot about that.
She's wonderful.
Yes.
And my second question is Michael Winters as annoying?
No.
No.
He's a terrific
No,
guy.
he's so great.
He's a gentle,
Yeah.
gentle man, just a warm, gentle
Yes.
guy, a consummate theater pro, classically trained actor. He's doing Shakespeare and Chekhov all the time,
Wow.
regionally and nationally. He's a brilliant guy.
Yes.
So, he must be, because that, when he turns that on.
I know.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, go ahead.
So I have one for Michelle. Did you enjoy playing your character, like, I guess you were kind of like just mean to people? Like, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, that's the fun part. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you. Maybe I'm twisted, but there's a fantasy in that, and if we could live in a world where you could just speak your mind, especially now where people get canceled every 2 minutes for saying something wrong, Michelle would be canceled in 1 second. Yeah, but yes, the joy of saying those lines, so many lines that were delicious. Into like, I remember his first season, there was an elderly woman that came to the inn and she said, "Excuse me, sir, do you know where I could find the best antiques?" And Michelle said, "Yes, at your house, I guess." You know, who says that? But what a pleasure. Yeah, loved it, yeah.
That's so good. Go ahead.
So I was going off a little bit off this question of A Year in the Life that ended in. If anyone in here has not seen it, sorry, spoiler alert, but Rory's pregnant. And everyone assumes. But I saw a theory the other day that Paris is actually the one that got Rory pregnant from inseminating her at her.
Oh, right.
Rory went and got inseminated instead of it being one of the exes or the boyfriend. And I wanted to see what you guys.
Oh
My
my
God,
God.
that's a
That's
sick,
a-
twisted.
Yeah,
Paris.
Where did you read that?
On Instagram.
Oh, wow.
Really?
That's the funniest thing.
That's funny.
Because
That's,
everybody said, what if Paris got Rory pregnant?
oh my God. What if Tom Cruise did? I mean, based on that, I mean, anything is possible, according to this person.
We know it's gotta be one of the three.
Yes, of course.
It has to be.
So then who do you think it is?
I'm hoping it's Jess.
Yeah. Then Logan was the last, gotta be Logan. Rory's not going from one guy to another guy.
No. But there is that thing where if she did go with Logan,
Yeah.
she felt so terrible about it, she immediately went to Jess out of guilt because she wanted to have a really full experience with him.
Right. I don't know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good question, thank you.
Doesn't make her a troll. Makes her a human being.
Go ahead.
Logan's in a relationship. I'm Team Jess all the way on that one. That question messed with my life, though. You guys have been coming in my living room since the pandemic. I mean, I've watched you guys season to season, episode to episode 7 times. I now do sock puppets in my classroom. I'm a special needs pre-K teacher, and Scotty P, your coffee, keeps my jam.
There
It
you
keeps
go.
small people alive, and I just want to tell you thank you for that, and for the
Yeah.
ha-ha song. And Michelle, thank you for being a tail wagger about Celine Dion, because you guys are on my bucket list. I'm so excited. I met Jenna Elfman and just had to literally say, give me 5 seconds for me to just wag my tail. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for coming to Atlanta.
Thank you.
My question would be, if you had to step out of Stars Hollow and be your character anywhere else, where would it be? Where would you choose to go?
Paris for Michelle.
I think Luke would probably go, he'd want something rural and woodsy. I think he'd probably go to Montana or Wyoming, Jackson Hole or something like Teton Village or something. Well, he couldn't afford that. But he'd get a small ranch somewhere outside of Cheyenne.
Yes.
So I'm also one of those people that binges it repeatedly and did like 6 times from October till now. Y'all get me through half of my work shift at home because it's the perfect de-stressor. And one thing I've always wanted to say to Yannick, I used to host foreign exchange students from France, and she absolutely loved you. She would send me your video where there was a clip where you were just like, kill me now to the French people, and was laughing a bunch. And I do have a question for you also. One of the things I didn't understand, a lot of people I think agree, is why Luke and Lorelai didn't get married between the original show and the revival, and I was wondering if anyone had given you any type of clue as to why, or if you had anything in mind as to why.
Well, I think you want to keep, that's one of the main tensions of the show. So, I mean, after the show ended, they probably had an idea that they would bring it back in some form, want to maybe keep that as an option on the back burner there, so they could exploit that down the road. It gives them better, it gives the creators better negotiating stance when they want to bring it back. So, well, you want a wedding? It's going to cost you.
Okay, last two.
So, my best friend Aubrey wanted to know what advice you would give to your past self, like before the show.
The actor or the character?
Doesn't matter.
Ah.
She didn't specify.
The advice.
I mean,
Be-
yeah, go ahead.
Do for actor. Do for actor. The character.
I mean, I would do it for myself, like,
You're gonna go there.
yeah.
Ooh, 'cause that's
No,
a
I
trap.
don't know.
She said a trap. We're falling into it.
Yeah,
Your
but I would
friend
know for
Aubrey, sure.
Um,
Okay.
I think, I mean, I have always been very, very appreciative every time I have a job as an actor, because I'm so aware that it's, you know, it comes and goes, and you can work and not work, and you're trained, you know, like people want to hire you, and suddenly they don't, and you don't know why. And so I was going to say during that time, I would have said to Yannick to appreciate it. But there is not a time where I drove on the parking lot and I didn't say to myself, God, I'm lucky. God, I'm lucky. I've always kept it in mind. So I don't know. I know Michelle probably would tell him to relax. That not everything has to be perfect.
Great.
So we're doing both
I don't
character and
know.
person?
You do you.
Now you set the bar, now I gotta, thanks a lot. Okay, person, I don't know, just enjoy the journey more as a young person instead of being so driven. Okay, I think a lot of people with drive and ambition and work ethic miss out on a lot of the glory of life because they are so focused on one goal. And as far as Luke is concerned, gosh, I don't know.
Make a move sooner with her?
But no, I don't think he should have made a move sooner. I have thought that, and then I realized why he doesn't. And it's because that's a very small town, and they're friends, and he doesn't want to disrupt
Right.
anything. It's just too fraught with,
Yeah.
you know, peril for him and his business and his personal life. So it's better to, yeah, I guess, I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay,
I have no idea.
last question. Time for one more, then we gotta.
Can't speak
gotta wrap.
intelligently about my own character.
How do you think Rory's new journey in your future is going to impact your life relationship or talent?
Well, what is her new?
Well, the fact that she's pregnant? The fact that she's pregnant,
she's not
yeah.
pregnant? Oh, yeah.
I think that town is like her family, extended family, so everyone will jump in and help and love and, you know, nurture that child. I think that's the
Yeah,
spirit.
that's the question. How can she venture outside of Stars Hollow?
Right.
She's got to stay there.
I mean,
That is her family. That's a
right, in that way, yeah.
Because she had a terrific upbringing. I mean, look at her. She's spectacular. In a lot of ways, she's far more mature than her own mother. She takes care of her mother. She's helped raise her mother a little bit, you know,
That is accurate.
and put salve on Lorelei's childhood trauma, right? So yeah, that makes perfect sense. I agree with that.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you. Give a big hand to Scott Patterson and Brian Tisdale, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.